Hello, 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 hello. Right, we should be streaming to the world. This is our first live broadcast from Sun and Base. Slightly later than planned, but that is the holiday way. Dave Columbo Jenkins here. I'm here with Chris.SU. Later on, we will be interviewing Klute as well, and also T.R.A.C Man Like Track. So it's a lovely Sunday afternoon. We're going to play some tunes. We're just going to ease into things. Whichever channel you're on, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, drop us a little comment, and you might hear a little jingle like this every now and again.
You're in tune with the One More Thing Sun and Base Social.
Yeah, we got jingles. Brilliant. And if you are at Sun and Base right now, if you're watching on the page, you're here in San Teodoro, come down. We're live at Faro. You can come down and you can ask the DJs questions. Might even be opportunities to interact and come down. So we're going to be playing for about 2 hours or so. Deep interviews, lots of chats about Sun and Base history as well. Let us know if we're coming through okay on the stream. Let us know if volume levels are okay and everything like that. Get involved in all of the chats. Hope you're having a lovely, lovely Sunday. Okay. Here we go. Right. So I am joined by Chris.SU. You're a regular at this festival, aren't you, man?
Yeah, I think it's been 20 years exactly. For the first time I was here, it was in 2004.
Wow.
So back in 2024, it's crazy to think about it, man. It's like I got goosebumps, you know, thinking back on the first occasion when we were here. That was back with SKC. Back in the days, he was still an active producer. So good to
Right.
be back on Paradise Island, you know.
Paradise Island. That's amazing. So what was it that brought you here then? Like 2004, you would have been pretty young. You wouldn't have been like, you know, what I'd like, yeah, without kind of giving your age away, or you can give your age away if you like, you would have been young. Why, what was it that compelled you to come at such an early stage as well? Because obviously Sun and Bass sounds like a no-brainer now, but back then, it was a pretty wild, far-out idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, back in the days, I was 23 years old. So that, if you are good of math, you can calculate my age.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways,
Pretty much the same age as me then.
I was pretty. Yeah, we are. I think we're the same age. I was born in '81.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I was a touring DJ already in 2004, and I had a gig in Germany, actually in Mannheim, as far as I remember. And one of the organizers of Sun and Bass, Andre, he was working in a record shop, so I went there early, and I was thinking, yeah, let's go to a record shop, you know, browse some vinyl, and I didn't know him at first, but he was looking at me like I was standing at the drum and bass records, you know, like maybe I can buy something for the evening to play, maybe like a promo record, which wasn't available in Budapest at that time. So I went there, and then we got kind of like get to talk, you know, a little bit like how's it, what are you doing in Germany? Why did you come here and stuff like that? So yeah, we became friends, and he was telling me that actually they are working on a small festival. You know, maybe there's not going to be a lot of people. And I know you are a touring DJ already, but would you be interested in coming to Sardinia for a small party? You know, I was like, yeah, that sounds like a good plan. You know, and they were actually a fan of SKC as well. So at the first year we came together, drove actually to Rome back in, like I said, 2004 was the first time. So we drove to Rome, took a ferry, came here, spent a beautiful week in Sardinia, and that's how I became part of one of the DJs who almost played each and every Sun and Basses ever since.
Wow, like Sun and Bass veteran. What's your favorite memory from that very, very first year? Because I think a lot of it happened here in Faro, didn't it?
Yeah, some of it was here. It wasn't that. Which was it? Ripping was, I think. Ripping
okay.
Club was the other place.
Yeah.
And I have a fond memory of that because I made myself look like an idiot because Randall, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
He played after us. We played with SKC, and maybe it was my English or miscommunication or something like that. I told him like, this is my last record, so you are on, and he was like, yeah, all good. And I'm like, you know, the record was almost at the end, so I made like a small rewind he wasn't ready yet. I think he thought that I'm gonna screwing with him, you know, or something like that.
Or you were saying it was your latest release or something like that instead of the last
maybe he
record.
misunderstood what I said. I said like, this is the last one. Maybe he said maybe he thought I'm saying one more.
Yeah.
You know, no, I don't know.
Oh no.
So you know, I didn't mean any disrespect or anything, but he got really pissed. I can tell you.
No, yeah.
And then the next day, actually, I was DJing. We are standing right there at the location. I was DJing next day here. This wasn't here back then, so the decks were somewhere there. And Randall shows up and sees that I'm playing in the mix, and he came here and did a small rewind in the mix. So I train wrecked everything, but with a big smile on his face. And like, now I screwed you back, you know. No hard feelings, you know. Everything like we're cool. Like he was very cool, but
cool.
I didn't mean any disrespect to him either. So rest in peace, Randall.
Rest in peace, Randall. Massive.
But that was the first memory what came to mind from the very first Sun and Bass.
Wow. So you just opened with a tune. So I asked people to bring along some kind of favorite tunes and some memories and stuff like that. And yeah, what did you just play then? I think it was Promises, was it?
Yes, that was called Promises on Sun and Bass Recordings. In fact, was released on a compilation album, I think back in 2011. You know, it's a blur, so it could be, the year might be wrong, but yeah, that was part of, because the Sun and Bass crew asked me if I had a track for it, obviously, because I've been part of the crew kind of like from the very beginning, so I was more than happy to give them a track for this compilation, and I tried to figure out a vibe for this tune, what represents the island kind of like from the early morning hours until the late evening hours, and then going back. Like this track is kind of a journey from early morning vibes to the club hours, and then going back to the sunrise again, you know. So
perfect.
that's what I try to represent with this track.
Perfect. Let's have another piece of music. I want to check that the stream is running fine, see if there's any questions coming in and stuff like that, and just make sure that everything is running smoothly as we transmit our first ever One More Thing broadcast from Sun and Bass. This is the Sun and Bass Social with One More Thing. So yeah, what are you going to play next?
Since we got Klute in the house,
We got Klute in the house.
I have this track called Crash, what I did with SKC back in 2003 or 4, I think.
Wow, super early on.
So I'm going to play that one.
Brilliant.
Just for a
Go
change.
on. Okay, right. So
On
we're gonna have
Commercial
some tunes.
Suicide.
Okay, excellent. Right, so we're going to play that tune and then come back in. Is that coming in the mix now? There we go.
I think I'm gonna crash.
Sweet, amazing stuff. So tell us about your relationship with Klute then, because we've got him coming up in a little while. He's recently done a remix of you as well. Tell us about how deep do you go with Klute, because he's coming up soon.
Yes, he did a remix for my. Actually, I have a record label called Fate Recordings,
Ooh.
and we celebrated the 10th anniversary end of last year, sort of. And I asked Klute to do a remix for me if he was up to it, and he was, and he delivered a brilliant remix of my track called Anti-Serum. And yeah, but our relationship goes way back in time. Actually, I met my wife at a Klute party in Budapest back in 2001.
Wow, go on. So it doesn't really go much deeper than that, really, does it? You know, that's it. Like,
No.
wow, that's really special.
And yeah, pretty much we became a couple with Susie, who is actually here. You don't see it on the stream, but I'm here spending the whole week with my family. We have a daughter, and yeah, back in 2001, it was the 8th of December. I remember the exact date. Klute was playing in Budapest, and we just decided to go together with Susie to see him. And I really remember playing one of his tracks called I Minder, which was released back in on 31 recordings back in the days, and that was on dub at that moment. So I remember he was playing it, and we had our first kiss pretty much when that tune was playing.
Oh,
so
my
word!
Wow.
Klute is our Cupid, so to say.
Wow,
I
Klute
blame him. I
freaks.
blame him.
Hey, I had no idea when I was kind of trying to program all of the DJs for guests on this show. It was very difficult because programming is difficult when you got so
Yeah.
many moving parts. And I put you and Klute together on a show. I had no idea. I knew that there was a connection. Musically, there's a connection as well. I would say there's a
Multiple
synergy,
levels.
yeah. But I didn't realize it went that deep. But that summarizes the magic there of Sun and Bass and
Yeah.
music in general, really, doesn't it? In that way.
Absolutely, and the thing is, I didn't know him in person at that point, and we became kind of like online friends back on the AIM days. You know,
Yeah, go on.
back in the days, producers used to send DJs tracks on AOL Instant Messenger platform. Like everyone was on, you know, like Andy C, you name it, Back Company, everybody, Ed Rush. And then kind of like I got his AIM name from DJ T.R.A.C, who was the first UK person to release records from me. Big respect to DJ T.R.A.C.
Yeah, big up Duncan.
On Decipher Records.
Yeah.
You know, we were like kind of part of the first international wave who kind of broke into the drum and bass scene back in the early 2000s.
I was going to say, like yourself, TB, Marky, Pendulum, from all corners of the world.
Yeah.
You were some of the very, very first names. And it's really
Yeah.
exciting hearing you talk about kind of situations and having things on dub, but in Hungary and stuff like that, because this is like, you know, very first evidence of drum and bass coming out into all of these territories and stuff. You were one of the very
Yes.
first kind of ambassadors or pioneers of the sound in Hungary, really, weren't you?
Yes, pretty much. Like there's been a couple of other producers. Like I said, my
SKS.
mate SKC.
SKC.
We played this track. We wrote together Crash, which was released on Klute's Commercial Suicide Records. So kind of all comes together, you know. And we were so honored to be part of this kind of international acts who broke through back in the days, because we have big respect to the UK scene, who basically founded this whole movement, you know, and to be becoming a part of it, it's, as a Hungarian, you know, you can't really wish anything more from life. And I'm
That's
still
amazing.
still here, you know, so yeah, very grateful for all these people who actually supported our early work.
Yeah, definitely. Because it wasn't easy either when I talked to people like TB, you know, to break through, because the UK knew it had such a special movement. There was unlike anything else that had ever happened, comparable only to hip hop in America. It was that big and that important culturally, and it broke down so many barriers that people were scared of it getting too big because it would lose its specialness. So for the early people like yourself and TB, Noisia as well, you know, a couple of years later. But anybody coming from Holland as well, like
Black Sun Empire, for example.
It was extra hard to get people's from the UK's attention, wasn't it? And to get people to listen, because we had so much stuff going on in the UK that we didn't need, UK people didn't need to listen to Europe for a little while. So it made it harder for you, didn't it?
Most definitely. And maybe you guys, the older chaps who are watching the stream, or online. You know, maybe some of you guys remember Dogs on Acid. There was a forum
yeah,
on it, and we used to upload some tracks there, and we also sent out like CDs, you know, via mail, like actual mail out, not the mail out what we are used to these
like
days, you know,
proper
emails,
mail.
like proper CDs. We sent out some demo CDs, and one of my first tracks, which Decipher DJ T.R.A.C released, the one with the sample called "My House is Your House and Your House is Mine."
Yeah.
That was my first kind of international breakthrough tracks. That was sent out via CD, actually, by SKC along some of his
cool.
tracks. So, yeah, big up to SKC Gabor.
Wow.
He sent out some CDs, and that's how it got released.
God.
So, yeah.
Amazing.
Crazy times.
What was another, like, what was there a kind of real moment, perhaps playing in the UK, or perhaps it was here or somewhere like that, where you felt, I mean, maybe it was the Klute situation there, really, where you kind of felt like you kind of made it and you've been accepted in? Maybe it was the Randall story as well that you told me, where you kind of felt like, yeah, people are paying attention, and that what you were aspiring to, you were reaching.
Yeah, like all of these people, like Klute helped us tremendously regards this. In 2004, I think, when we started to release some tracks on Commercial Suicide, that was the point when I felt like, yeah, the scene kind of accepted us. But like I said, from the early days, like since 2001 or 2002, Astro signed the sample with "My House Is Your House," the track with that sample. Like Ed Rush, Bad Company played all these tracks. You know, it was a childhood dream for me to achieve that. You know, like Kemal opening one of his sets, played in Toronto, I think, with that track. When I heard it on the internet, I'm like, what?
Yes.
Kemal playing my track. And then later, of course, we became friends, like with all these people. Like Ed Rush is a regular in Budapest. And yeah, we became friends with Klute as well. So we had our wedding in 2010, and we invited Klute to play there as well, because we had like a drum and bass after party. So
go on, that's amazing.
I blame Tom for everything.
We're going to get Tom up. Klute is going to come up here in a minute, and he's going to talk. Cupid Klute, as we're going to call him, for just a moment. But I mean, this is, like, I think one really cool thing that maybe people from the UK, unless you are an international artist and you tour a lot, there are these key people. I saw it as a journalist as well. There are key people who kind of promote in certain countries, and that's, I think, what has kind of created this global network. So you've got, like, last night I was with a promoter from Australia, and when you're touring and you're thousands of miles away from home, these become your family. This is drum and bass family in Australia, or in Germany, or in Hungary, or in Italy, in Sardinia, where people will, you know, promoters bring you over, and they'll invite you once or twice a year, and you become part of their social network. Whenever you go, you look forward to seeing certain people. And this is what is, I mean, I think that's the real kind of magic that's really spread drum and bass around the world, are these promoters who've taken a risk on it, really. I guess, like, Sun and Bass being the same as well, really, isn't it?
They took a high risk regards the first international lineup back in 2004, but they managed to do a tremendously good job during the years to become professional. But I've seen promoters become sometimes a bit too professional, if you know what I mean. So Sun and Bass is very special because they kept the friendly vibe. There is a unique vibe all over this week of, you know, in Paradise. We have this. You see Dom and Roland walking on the street, and he's smiling, you know.
Wow. Like, that's how magic it is. Like, you don't normally see a Dom and Roland smiling. On the other side of the camera, Dom and Roland is actually in the audience here. There's quite a few people. There's quite a few known people sitting here watching us. Chef is also here as well. And that is the beauty of Sun and Bass as well, just walking down the street and bumping into people. Me and my friend were talking about how amazing Seba's sets are, and then suddenly Seba was standing right beside me. I was like, oh, right, hang on, here he is. We could actually tell the man himself in person. And people stop and they talk as well. And somebody was saying last night, it's not like other big kind of drum and bass events where everybody meets and they stay backstage. This is just happening out in clubs, bars, on the street,
everywhere.
On the beach. It's just the whole of the drum and bass population, or a great section, a great cross-section of the drum and bass community are all here. What I love, and you've brought this up so many times, is the importance of love and family and connection through music. And you're here now. Is this the first time you brought your whole family, or do you do this every year with your child as well, your daughter?
We are pretty much here every year with the family. I have, like, on my Facebook page photos from, like, back in when my daughter was a newborn baby. She was 2.5 months old and standing right there, and Goldie holding him in his arms, you know. And then we did the same photo every year afterwards, when I think Goldie couldn't make it like in the last couple of years, but back in the days he was a regular here as well. So we always, here, hold my daughter, you know, let's take a quick picture. So there's like every year in September there's a post on my Facebook page with Goldie holding my bigger and bigger kid, you know.
Amazing. So while some people have got like a little line on the door saying this is how old you were at 9 3/4, or this is how old you were at 11, you've got pictures of Goldie holding your child as a degree of measurement. Brilliant. How many Goldies were you that year? Oh, you were 3 Goldies high that year. That's amazing. Do you want to play another piece of music then? And then I think we're going to get old Cupid Klute then up here to chat on the mic as well. I hope everybody who is tuned into this stream is enjoying it as well. This is Chris.SU giving us some amazing drum and bass history, Sun and bass history, and personal history as well. And it's all intertwined, isn't it?
Yes, it's, you know, amazing to be here with you at this point.
This is awesome.
I'm going to play the Klute remix of my track called Anti-Serum.
Brilliant.
Nice one.
Don't touch that dial. It's One More Thing Sun and Bass Social with Dave Columbo Jenkins.
Okay. So now we're going. Oh.
Hello. Oh, the camera fell down.
We have a new host.
Yes. Welcome.
Commercial Suicide TV
Sun and Bass.
taking over.
In the place. Get me off the mic quick, Dave.
Right, Sun and Bass in the place with Cupid Klute here. It's great to have you, man. Take us back to your. I mean, how do you feel? I don't know how much of Chris's stories you've heard, but you played such an integral role in Chris's life. Like, and he met his wife. He met his wife while you were playing.
Yeah, it's because I was DJing in Budapest, and it was a really particularly boring set. So I think they were distracted. I needed something else to do, so they got together. But I'll take the credit.
Wow, that's the power of Klute and his boring sets.
Boring sets, yeah.
Right, I'm going to hold you this microphone, because, or you're going to fix the camera. This tripod really needs kind of...
multitasking here.
Yeah. We're getting
Shut
booed
up, Chef. Outrageous.
We're now getting booed by Chef. So is this okay? I think that might be looking at the deck a bit too much. I wanted to kind of point
There we
out.
go.
How's that? People in the chat kind of...
Yeah, comments in the chat section,
Let
please.
us know. Right, take me back to your very first Sun and Bass experience.
It was with trepidation that, because there'd been something similar in a different country, like, this great festival, and it turned out to be a disaster. I won't name the name of that festival.
Are we coming through okay on the mics? It didn't sound like you were coming through.
I can certainly hear it through the
okay,
speakers.
cool.
So
there'd been an attempt by another promoter then.
Somewhere else in a different country, and it had been a disaster. So it was.
I've not heard of this. Right, okay.
I'm not going to name it because I don't, But anyway, so a year later, this came up, and it was a bit, is this going to be another disaster? But the word was no, it'll be fine. So it came down with my friend Daryl from the Invaders.
Hey, go on,
big
big up
shout out to
Daryl.
Daryl from the Invaders. And just getting on the plane and the airport was we were just coming across characters left, right, and centre. And back in those days, you used to fly into a different airport, Alghero, which is about 2.5-3 hours drive.
Right.
So you'd fly in and then have this mad drive through, like kind of slicing through the middle of Sardinia. You'd sort of have a nap and wake up and you see donkeys in the middle of the road. And
Brilliant.
It was immediately sort of really special and quite just amazing sort of special energy thing. Like, it's been magic from the get-go, really.
There were some pretty significant names as well on that first one. They're like Shy
I
FX
wasn't
and
here for the
stuff like
first
that.
one. I think Stefano will remember, but it was either the second or I think it was the second one that I came in for, because I was asked, and it was second. Yeah, Martinez confirmed that.
I thought she was just giving us a peace sign.
Well, but so the thing was, it was like a, I don't know, it was just a mix. So everyone was mingled together. There was no kind of like artists and then audience. Everyone was just the same. And I think that's always been the vibe. Is just there's no separation. It's just everyone's just together.
Yes, yeah, you've summed it up there, I think, and that's what's magic about the best events is where there is no segregation.
Yeah.
So I really want to get Chris involved in this as well, because you're kind of standing there. And we do have another mic as well. I don't know if that one's on.
Which mic have you got there? Is that a Rode? No, it's a Shure.
That's my bad boy
That's
mic.
the
You've got my
podcaster
special mic.
mic.
That is,
Yes.
that's my Vision Radio mic there. I'm entrusting you with that.
That's
I don't know if is it coming through?
95
I don't think.
pounds worth.
There we go. He's
There we
coming
go.
through
There
now.
we go.
There we go. Right. So I think you've hit the nail on the head there. It's that lack of division. So everybody is part of it. So whether you're an artist, whether you're a raver, whether you're a promoter, whether you're a sound tech guy, whether you're a bar person, whether you're security, we are all part of this big thing. Like,
Yeah.
Instead of there being levels or boundaries or places that you can go or
There's
can't,
no
and hierarchy.
backstages.
Yes. Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of the End Club in London somehow.
Yeah.
You played a couple of times there as well, right?
Yeah.
Because if you remember, the decks were on the crowd level, and it
Yeah.
was 360 before it was even popular, before it was a thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if Dave, have you been at the End?
Oh, yeah,
I'm pretty sure you have been there. So I love that place because I kind of felt like one of the ravers who was just actually playing the music, but I wasn't on a stage like
I always
hundreds.
prefer playing on the same level.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
same
see
here.
people's eyes. There's
Yeah.
nowhere to hide, and especially somewhere like here as well, where fans really know their tunes as well. So you can't bait it out. You can't just play, kind of anything obvious or anything like that. You got to deliver something special there as well, and there is something really special. And there are kind of theories that genre-specific festivals could be a little bit like an echo chamber, but for me, it's much more of just like a tasting menu, really, for the ultimate connoisseurs. If you really, really, really love your drum and bass, then you're going to come to something like this because you're only going to hear the very best. Like when you play here, it's not going to be like your common or garden kind of club set,
No,
is
not
it?
at all. And it definitely has never felt like an echo chamber here. It's always been, expansive. It's great.
To tell you the truth, I mean, we were having a similar conversation on the bus on the way in. Like, drum and bass is in a really weird state at the moment, isn't it? I mean, there's the mainstream cheesy side. Like, it doesn't represent what I fell in love with to begin with. And then you've got the shit that I was hearing last night and the stuff that we're talking about now. Like, it's still, when I think coming here is like, even being here for less than 24 hours, my love affair with drum and bass has already been galvanized and supercharged, and it really needed that at the moment. I
think you have mentioned similarities with hip hop in a way. Like in the hip hop scene, it started pretty much like with pressing like 1,000 vinyl records back in the days, like. And then later on, obviously became like hip hop stars and popular culture, like 50 Cent, whatever. They became superstars. So I think drum and bass is such an old genre now that there is a place for everyone. There is a place for the popular drum and bass artists, and there is the hardcore guys who have been there since day one, like who are pushing the boundaries of the genre forward each and every year, which makes it possible for this genre to survive all these years. I've seen many similar events when there was a spike of the popular drum and bass. It went up and then it went down a little bit and it went up again, like back in the days, like Cochin, for example, or Pendulum. There's been always phases of this, and then the real people who like drum and bass for the proper reasons, the real reasons, they've always been there for steadily. You know?
But you know what, like, because I don't want this to sound like we're just old guys standing here talking about the good old days. Like last night, I want to shout out Levance from Belgium. Like, he's a really exciting new young producer. This is his first Sun and Bass here. He's not playing, he's just come as a punter, but it's been like, a real kind of a mecca for him. He's wanted to come here for 10 years. And another DJ from the UK called Frenetic is her first Sun and Bass, and she might come down and have a play on one of these shows at one point during the week. But there are still, like, the new generation, there's still like it's not just kind of the old people who set those boundaries. There's still that new generation coming through and doing it right. I want to flip the switch a bit. I want to get a bit personal for a minute. So when I arrived last night, I went to Amber Night. I was so excited about this, so excited. But when I got there, I realised that I was far too sober to be there, and I hated it to begin with. Like, LSB and DRS were killing it, but there was too many people, and it was suddenly like, oh my God, like, shit, do I even like this or anything? And it took me a little while to find the groove. I went into the Samurai area in the gazebo, found some space, and the Untouchables, shouts the Untouchables, took me away. They took me away to a whole other place. I was locked in, and I was ecstatic. And I want to know what DJs, and I wasn't expecting it. I knew that they were good, and I've chatted to them before. They took it from like dub to jungle, like Goosebumps City,
I
like
can see them.
Goosebumps.
There they are.
it was just amazing. And that was the moment where I thought, like, bam, I've landed. Sun and bass. This is the music. These are the people. This is my fucking spot. Pardon my French. What DJs do that for you guys? What DJs? And can you relate to that feeling?
Oh,
sometimes?
absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that's, you've got to earn those goosebumps, I think. So it's got to, it takes time to reach that place. But for me, I mean, you're spoiled for choice here. And there's plenty, the people that I love are here anyway, but it's the exposure to, because you're you are in a captive environment, you're going out, and you're checking out other people, and I enjoy seeing people that I didn't expect, or wasn't thinking about, and just going, because like Luke LSB last night, it smashed it, just because I happened to be there at that time, but I felt that, that just an example. But for me, it's always Scotty, DJ Lee. Yeah. Another big one for me, it came a couple of years ago, Quiff from Total Science.
Oh man,
he did a little set outside San Teodoro Hotel in the afternoon. That for me, that year was the set of the week for me.
Oh wow.
There's a little special one.
I second that. He played recently in Budapest, such an amazing 3-hour-long set. You don't really, not Quiff, it was Smithy, but he's also part of Total Science. So but Quiff is also a wicked DJ.
Again, like you say, there's new and old. There's I've got my favourites.
I think it's also being able to tune into the vibe, and this is something that I've noticed. So I've gone from being a journalist, I went from an aspiring DJ to a journalist for 20 years, back to being a DJ as well as a journalist, and it's being thrown into these situations. So travelling for 13 hours, planes, trains and automobiles, arriving in a barn full of random strangers in Poland, and you've got to play instantly, and you've got to be able to read their minds and go, right, okay, you're probably going to want a vibe like this, and get into it. And like that is an art. Like, so that's something that I've never experienced. That is something the DJs as yourselves you would experience week out. Like, that's it. That's like some mad type of telepathy. It's a mad skill that you guys have to do every single time you play a set. I mean, is there any tricks to that? Like,
tricks. To me, it was about kind of. It's like a connection. And to me, the best gigs are always when there's a rapport with the audience. So it's not just you playing; the audience are feeding back. It's a loop. Yeah. So you're giving and taking both directions, and those are the best ones. And there's oodles of that at Sun and Bass. But that idea of arriving somewhere off the plane, Poland or whatever, that's thrilling to me. Right?
It's sink or swim. It's one of those. Oh my God!
There's no option for failure. You're just doing. You have to.
No option for failure. Yeah. Can you think of any instances like that? Whether it's gone incredibly right or incredibly scarily wrong, and you've not telepathized with the crowd correctly.
Yeah, I think it's also like I wanted to mention that the local promoters play a part as well, like how they educate their crowds. You know what I'm saying? Like
how they get the trust of their audience by being a good night. And that's Sun and Bass all over. People come to Sun and Bass and they don't know who's playing.
Yes,
it's sold out.
Yeah,
and that's down to the hard work of the promoters behind, who are working on everything should be spot on, like the sound system, etc. So big up to the Sun and Bass organizers doing the hard work.
It's all Stefano.
And Martina doesn't do anything, actually, just smiling.
But so in a moment, because we're talking about that connection, and there's one missing piece, there's one really important piece of the jungle jigsaw puzzle which we've yet to address, and that is the MC. So I think let's bring up our next guest. No, right, Chris is gone. we know how Europeans feel about MCs.
No MCs.
We've got T.R.A.C coming up. Adding to this truly international lineup, we have got T.R.A.C here. Right, but I think, so say hello, T.R.A.C. We're going to play a tune. Hello. I want to actually quickly check to see if we're streaming through and everything's okay and stuff. Is the mic? Oh, that's the better mic.
Which is the better? Oh, that, I like
the better mic.
This is kind of.
Do you want the better mic?
Let me take the better mic.
We're good.
Right, so we're going to play. Oh, here we go. There's a photo opportunity as well while this is streaming. I mean, we're going to play one tune.
Are we? I haven't queued anything up.
Oh, don't worry. We're not going to play a tune. Loxy's in the house. Brilliant. See, this is what we're talking about. Behind the camera, like there's just people random, like legends walking past. Dom and Roland and Loxy sitting there now watching. There's no pressure now. Like, but yeah, I'm in track. Let's talk. We've talked about the connection of music, the way that Klute managed to, kind of bring Chris and his wife together. We talked about the connection between the DJ and the crowd. Well, one of the most important ingredients and something that's super, super special to drum and bass and jungle culture.
This mic feels more special. I like
Oh, yeah, man. It's the MC. Like,
Yes. I'm listening.
Oh, are you streaming as well? We're going to
I'm
stream.
just going to show if
You're
I can find the right
live
space for it.
stream.
Well, look, we'll figure it out, right? I don't want to take up too much time here.
Take us back to your first Sun and Bass experience, because I don't think it was as far back as 20 years ago. So when did you first come here?
Well, 2015 was my first experience. It was out of curiosity, and it was also out of I wanted to be around the places that I wanted to be, and literally just found my way there with a couple shouts to A-Sides and a few others. And the next thing you know, I'm there to just I'm gonna hang out with Brian. Next thing you know, I'm doing a live set on Amber Beach. Next thing you know, I'm having probably what I consider some of the best times I've ever had. And, as a stateside guy, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Wow. And I mean, we've talked about that kind of integration of Europe into kind of drum and bass and the acceptance there. The whole relationship between North America and the UK is has been another challenge altogether, really, hasn't it? But right at this very, very moment, drum and bass is probably the European scene where, Europe, it's taken a while for, MCs to kind of flourish in Europe. And we've had people, I would say Copper, even though he's English, he's been a kind of a big integration, or a big ambassador for European MCs. Yeah. Favor, obviously, last night, he was MCing with Loxy last night. But I'm in America, MC cultures, you guys invented MC culture. So when all of the pieces of the puzzle are in place, things could really, really pop from a kind of coming from a hip hop place from drum and bass really in America. And that's something that you and I have talked about at length in various podcasts, isn't it?
Yes. And it's still bewildering to people that I'm a hip hop dude rocking over D&B tracks like it's nothing. And how is he making it make sense? And everything in between, and all I'm doing is having fun, you know what I mean? And to be honest, there are everything when it spreads, it becomes something else when it goes there. Even with hip hop, when hip hop left New York, the South did something different with it. The West Coast did something different with it. The Midwest, Chicago. So you gotta expect when the culture spreads and the MC element spreads, you're gonna get different variations and styles. That peak to that culture is within that city or country or continent, it's all vibes.
Yeah, it really, really is all vibes. What has been your favorite? Have you got an all-time favorite moment? If somebody said right, give me your favorite Sun and Bass memory right now, track.
Oh Lord, when Klute was rocking, and I walked in, I tripped over some grass, and Klute was killing. I got a couple ties. I talked about it in a post on my Instagram, and it's either the live set at Amber Day with Paula G, which was my first night, freaking drones and people and coming after Caliber with the stress and no voice that happened to show up for the set.
Oh, no.
That was my voice was gone for 3 days. I was here screaming for no reason.
Oh, no.
For a couple days, and it disappeared, and then it was 1 day left, and I literally was doing sound check with a bad voice, and then all of a sudden a little teensy bit of it shows up, and I get the whole set. And I started, I don't know. That is a gift from God or a miracle of some sort.
Oh, wow, wow. So
there was a lot of stress.
Straight after the set, could you not talk then? You had to go to sign language.
I don't remember, to be honest, because I was still on cloud. And you know who was God bless him, the guy who encouraged me to keep it going was MC Fats. And, we walk in.
Yeah, there's a round of applause for MC Fats.
Let me put this in MC Fats language, really. He sees that 2 guys are nervous to get on. We just saw Caliber destroy in front of us. I have no voice. And I'm looking at Paul like, oh, my God. Wow. We're going to flub. And he just comes over. Hey, you all right, man? I said, yo, I don't think I'm going to do it, man. I think this is it. I don't have a voice. He looked at me and says, Track, I've been doing this for 25 years. Now, you get your ass out there and go rock the party. And literally said, Paul, just hit the button, and walked around. The rest is history. So that little bit of manly encouragement for Fats was, all of a sudden my voice worked.
Wow.
You know? Yeah, so yeah.
Go on. Yeah, again, the magic of music, the magic of the universe, like the power of everything happening there, really. I mean, it's a bit like, it excites me how many international people are here at Sun and Bass. People from Australia who come over every year and stuff.
Wow.
I mean, like, you've made it as much like, I think you've come over as regularly as you possibly can.
As possibly can, I'll say yes.
It's
That's
a
keeping it
commitment,
healthy.
isn't it? It's
It's
an
a
investment.
It is a want as well, and I guess it's a need in the same sense. It's just when you're around, you know, we got Loxy chilling, we got my man Carter, Chef out here, and you want to. These are my people. This is my family. This is my home. These are the people I want to be around and grow and make amazing type art with. You know what I mean? So you want to be here for that self. After that, it's all about what else you want to add to your, to your pizza.
What else is on your pizza this week? Tell us what you can expect. What's your schedule looking like this week?
Oh, well,
Is this different
Dave,
for
let me
MCs,
check
isn't
my
it?
itinerary real quick. Well, pineapple on
I
pizza
love pineapple
is
on a pizza.
next.
Wow, we suddenly hit the high issues.
Oh, there's nobody agrees here. Sorry.
Well, I like it. I know.
Canadians
Pineapple
put.
on pizza
I'm
is
not Canadian,
fine.
but Canadians put pineapple on pizza. Yes.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. Can you just
Say that again, Klute.
So in Australia, they have baked beans on pizza. So
What?
I'll take pineapple over baked beans any day.
I'll take pineapple over baked beans. Nobody's killing the Australians
bean
for
on
baked beans
pizza.
on pizza.
There is a pizza. Colette Warren and Ben Soundscape took me for a pizza which has, well, you call them fries, we call them chips on the pizza.
Oh, chips, yes.
And there is one here, like last time I was here in 2018, I was taken for that pizza with chips on. So maybe a pizza with beans and chips. But then you might as well put sausages on it, take the pizza away, and just have sausages, beans, and chips. Yeah.
What kind of beans work with pizza is the question, I guess.
Baked beans. You guys don't have baked beans in America, really, because I remember waking up.
Australians put beetroot in their hamburgers.
Oh, my God.
I could do that.
I think this interview is going somewhere we don't want to continue for some reason.
But actually, right, okay, so you're much more of a regular here. Right. I'm going to open this out to all of you because I want to check the stream and stuff. Right. Tell me the best places to eat. Like, last time I came here was 2018. I went to this mad restaurant where they give you about like 12 different courses. Can't remember the name of it. It's the only restaurant I can remember. The farm.
The farm is classic, obviously.
Give me some advice, some dietary advice for Sun and Bass.
I am a huge fan of the Fabio. You go to the Fabio, Centertown, makes the best, and I'm a tiramisu connoisseur. They call me Terry Miso on X, whatever. Fabio makes the best. I love his setup for everything over there, and I always go there every year. And there's also used to be an old restaurant for those who were true Sun and Bass heads called L'artiste that used to make these amazing mussel linguinis that turned me into something special.
With mussels. I'm not a South food guy, which is probably heresy on an island like this where everybody loves food. So right, I think we need a tune because I want to check the stream and stuff. Clute's going to play a tune. Is there anything significant about this piece of music?
Yeah. Originally there was a heavy Austrian contingent with the Sun and Bass Collective. There's as is, and all the crew from kind of Vienna and thereabouts. So I thought I'd pick a tune from Ill Skills from Vienna. Ooh. So it's DK and Rawful, who are very sort of prominent sort of guests or participants.
Shouts to DK, happy birthday.
I'm going to play an old tune from them, one from sort of around that sort of time, 2004. Brilliant. A classic, Come Closer by Ill Skills.
Amazing. Come closer, everybody.
Come closer.
Yeah.
Don't touch that dial. It's One More Thing Sun and Bass Social with Dave Columbo Jenkins.
Okay. Now we're streaming. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
There we go. So we have said goodbye to Chris.SU. He's gone now for a day at the beach. And now we're just going to get up close and personal with T.R.A.C for a little while. Now, I was just saying, I want to ask you the same. Last night, I had a real kind of moment. It was the moment where, and I think everybody gets this at an event, really, where it's all up in the air and you don't know where you fit in and it's all weird. And then suddenly you get that magical moment where it just goes, choo, and you fall into place. For me, that was the Untouchables last night in the gazebo. And they took me on a journey. They took me on a real journey from dub to jungle, and it was just beautiful. Who does that for you? What DJs do that for you?
Oh my, that's a deep question.
Yeah.
I never really thought about it because when you're on stage, you're just trying to fit in with the vibe and the groove. There may be personal favorites that I like to rock with, but I don't know if they fit that question in general because sometimes you just end up in a space.
Like I did last night,
Right,
wasn't
right.
it? You know, where you're not expecting it and it takes you by surprise.
Just gone into some other place. So, yeah, I guess I don't have an answer to say anyway. I'll be scared to have an answer for that anyway.
Okay, but all right, let me flip that or broaden that out a little bit more then. What would be your ultimate lineup? If you did like a kind of a track curating, like a T.R.A.C and Friends.
Are you listening, Stefano?
for Sun and Bass 2025, T.R.A.C and Friends takeover, who's on your lineup?
Shy, Marky,
Have you played with Shy before?
No, there's a story about Shy, but that's for another time. It was a great. We finally met, and it was a really good time out in Toronto. Big ups to Shy Effects. I need one more person, right? One more. Brian. Well, Brian is not fair, right? You can't say just Brian.
Well, Brian would probably have a V take over at the same event.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. Yo, bring truck over, and there you go.
Brilliant, Brian impression. Do that again, man.
I can't do it.
We're going to go for the last section of the show. We're going to do just DJ impressions. We're definitely not going to do that. Yeah, who else would be on your lineup? Who is a dream when you're looking at your schedule? And like,
Caliber.
Oh.
Just everybody loves Caliber. You got to have Caliber can do jump up. As far as I'm concerned, you know.
Yeah. Caliber could do.
That sounds sacrilegious, but I'm just yeah.
So like I kind of, because I think one of my first times I wrote about you, I compared you to, I said like you were the kind of US equivalent of T.R.A.C. I think was
yeah, I
the
heard
first.
that. Yes,
And
shouts
so
to my
like
man,
I could see you on a Caliber set. I think. What are the most important things? I thought Klute was just going to get some money out for us, and you're just going to splash the cash. If the interview wasn't good enough to pay for. Yes. What are the most important ingredients for you to feel happy and present on the stage as an MC and feel connected, feel that connection between the MC and the crowd and the music and everything?
The most perfect would be killing all nonsense and distractions before I touch the stage. No extra this or extra that. No. That's because I love it. You know, I love to perform. But sometimes when you're going through the doors, there's this coming at you from here, this coming at you from here, and they kind of shake you up a little bit. By the time you get to the stage, now you got to take a breath and start over again somehow in the midst of, music madness. So I try to keep to myself for the most part. I try to make my little box and bubble. And once I find that moment of peace and clarity, all bets are off. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's always been my thing. Because when I'm on stage, I don't even think I'm on stage.
Yeah. You just
know what I
mean?
mean?
Like.
Yeah. I'm on stage and I'm dreaming that I'm in Disney World or something like that, and everything's just floating and flying and purple horseshoes. I don't know. I'm just trying to come up.
Is it a blur when you come off then? Because so to give you my own personal kind of example or reflection on this, when I used to DJ years ago, I couldn't remember my sets, and I put that down to just intoxication. Now I play sober. I still can't remember my sets because of adrenaline and just because in that moment you come away and you think, what did I play? What did I do? Was that all right? Because you're in the moment. So when you're in the moment, you're not recording. When you're live streaming, you're not recording the stream at the same time, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a form of realization, though. There's a lot of artists, we do a million shows. There's a lot of drinks, a lot of drugs passing through us. And sometimes we hit a point where, is it the drugs or is it me? And, for me, I didn't have any alcohol problems, but I stopped doing alcohol for like about a year and a half. And I was pouring my soul out as if like it mattered. Straight, felt great, just as good, if not better. And I just realized, I don't need this stuff. I'm good, No more liquid courage like that. So
liquid courage, this is it. And we're part of, I think, a new kind of age or movement, and especially with the new generation, aren't so into getting smashed like 90s people were. I'm noticing more trends of people looking after themselves, really. I'm trying to do Sun and Bass sober.
Yes, Klute, young fogies.
I was going to turn around and ask you, like, Klute, are you doing Sun and Bass sober?
I'm totally sober.
Brilliant. I mean, it's the law to have at least one of those beers every day when you're in Sardinia, I think, anyway.
Continent, yeah.
Kuzla.
Brilliant, let's give you a microphone. Like, what are we doing here?
Yes. Come on in, Klute.
With this
there's
tangle
headphones.
wires here now.
All right.
This is live streaming content.
We are
with
professionals
tangled wires and
oily
stuff like
microphones.
that. Yeah. I mean, what has your relationship been? So come round, I don't know, can we see you on the mic? There we go. I mean, you've been on the road for a very, very long time, obviously with the Stupids as well. Yeah. So you must have had everything offered to you at different points and relied on different things to be touring. What's your relationship like and how's that been? Because this is a really important part of clubbing culture and musician culture when you're on the road, being able to say no, moderation and stuff. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about this.
Well,
but
I mean,
here we are.
You can get sort of quite deep and philosophical and psychological about stuff. I've certainly, gone through long periods of really getting into it and drinking lots and whatever. It's at the end of the day, it's all about brain stimulation, dopamine, and it's high intensity. From the DJing perspective, you're getting up early, you're traveling, making deadlines, getting on planes, communicating, blah blah blah. So it's high intensity. You get, well, for me, you get used to that level, high level.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to come down. So you maintain. Sort of long in the tooth with the alcohol. I don't drink so much anymore. I tend to drink when there's energy around me. So we're all having a good time, so I can have a drink. If I'm at home, I'll just get an instant, headache, hangover sort of thing. So, but it's all part of it, and I don't necessarily look down upon it.
Oh, no, not at all.
It's all part of the celebration of communion.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what we're doing.
And it is social relaxants, really, in terms of just kind of getting rid of that awkwardness and getting all of that out of the way, so then you can kind of feel like you're on the level with people in that type of way, really. And I think it's more important kind of to be addressed, because I think for years it was just either swept under the carpet and not acknowledged, or it was glamorized and glorified by mags like Mixmag, which would be talking about pingers and pills and stuff like that, where I think there's a much more kind of serious conversation that can be had with that.
I mean, things are a lot more, what's the word? People are much more apprehensive about getting off their skulls these days, because there seems like there's a constant record of everything that's happened. And believe me, the things that have happened here, had it been in this day and age, there'd be lots of documentation of these things. But these things stayed, and they happened here and they stayed here. And it's now legend or whatever.
What happened in Sun and Bass 2005 stays in Sun and Bass 2005.
I reckon a lot of, talking about maybe people not being so caney, if you want to say that, in this day and age, is primarily because they don't want to be seen to be, a video of them making a fool of themselves coming out.
Yeah.
But to me, it's sometimes it's a shame, because I feel like you want to see. When I leave a club at night, I want to see people rolling around in the gutter like they've had a time of their life. And
it's not a good night unless people are.
Unless there's sirens and lights outside. But
as I left Amber Night, there were some police cars and stuff like that coming down.
We don't want
that. No, I think it was just aggravation with just drunken people. I mean, booze is probably the worst one in terms of aggravation and stuff like that. And let's go back to the music. Who are you looking forward to most, just seeing this particular week, looking at the program? Who are you looking forward to seeing the most?
Right now, off the top, I am looking forward to seeing Lensman spin. I haven't seen him spin in a while, and I would love to catch what the North Quarter crew is going to do when their night comes. In general.
I think that's tonight, isn't it?
That's tonight. No, it is tonight. Yeah, it's tonight.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to D-Bridge, I think. There's loads. I didn't look at the program on purpose until last night, because I didn't want another added level of all of the things that were stressing me out about doing this stream, then to look at the program and seeing what the stream is up against, or what I'm going to need. I'm looking right at Loxy, and I was dancing to his set last night thinking, I got to go, I've got to sleep, I got to go and do this stream and stuff. You can't be everywhere all at once. But quite a lot of people didn't want to commit to a particular day for this show, because I want to see the program first to make sure that I pick the right day when there's fuck all else on that I want to see, basically. When the night after I've had a lot of sleep, I'll come down and talk to you and stuff like that. So 20 years of Sun and Bass. What would you like to see more of Sun and Bass in the next 20 years? Yeah. Oh, wow. Go on. You're just knocking off the jingles with your
MC doing too much once again.
That's a very good question.
Let's have a jingle, though, anyway.
Sardinia. It's the One More Thing Sun and Bass Social.
There we go. It's the One More Thing Sun and Bass Social. Just in case you've tuned in really randomly.
More social. That's what I want to. That's a really good question. What would I want to see more of in the future?
Oh man.
I can't answer that. I'd have to go away and.
Do you know what? I'm going to say this controversially, because I've been thinking about my set, which is coming up, Amber Day, right at the end of next week. I'm going to play some house music. Because I think by the end of No, man. Because drum and bass comes from house music, partly. Like, you know, a lot of those kind of early records were mixed up, like Frankie Bones and stuff like that. Like, house music played a really, really powerful role in the development of jungle and drum and bass culture.
Yes.
And I was there, I was thinking, like, everybody's played all the amazing records. By Friday, every single amazing drum and bass record would have been played, and all ones that people don't even know exist. I would like to see a little bit of house music as Sun and Bass, so I'm just going to throw that controversial stone into the pigeons and stuff. What do you want to see more of?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on the house, but I remember something like that was tried, and everybody ran into the gazebo when they turned and flipped the music. But
really, wow.
I'm leaving that alone now.
Well, my set might be a nightmare. No, I'm just thinking like I like to play lots of different genres. I love multi-genre stuff.
I tell you what I do enjoy. They'll do on the beach time. They'll do kind of, I don't know, backgrounds or influences sets on the beach.
Caliber's doing a 140 thing.
Yeah, I think was it last year, the year before, Brian G did a reggae set, and he was bricking it beforehand because it is totally out of his comfort zone, and that's putting people out of their comfort zone on the beach. It's relaxed. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But putting DJs out of their comfort zone, do this, and holding them to it.
Yeah, I think that's the sign of a real DJ there as well. When you can play them in, okay, so this is a cool one. If you could play any type of influences set, if I could book you and say, right, play whatever you want, but just don't play what people would expect you to play, what would you play?
I would play a mixture, that kind of, the 120 to 150 zone. Yeah. That's my favorite, but it all has a vibe.
Yeah.
A dark vibe. I did one of those on the beach here, and to me it was really special because normally the beach you think, you play sunshine music, whatever, and I played, dark. And to me, it gave me goosebumps to have the opportunities to do that. It's great. Yeah,
go on. That's amazing. Right. So if you could freestyle and perform and do your thing over any kind of styles then, but not the ones that you would normally MC over. So I'm going to say no hip hop or drum and bass.
Oh, no. Okay.
Do you want to play over my house set next Friday?
Hey, listen, I am a fully equipped MC, man. I could rock over church music if you threw it on in some form.
Now that
okay.
I'd like to see.
Who's got the church music? Anybody come down to the Al Faro now with your gospel USBs?
Hold on one second.
Going to do something next level. But no, I mean, that is the beauty of an MC. Like, I mean, I speak to a lot of drum and bass MCs. Like, there was one who was like, I don't like her when she goes up to 180. I can't spit at 180. It's like, hang on, like, surely as an MC, like, there's only 6 BPM difference anyway, so that really doesn't seem like very much. But most MCs should be versatile at any BPM, or am I missing something here? I don't want to oversimplify.
If you stick to the hard rule of MCing, you are not scared of anything you hear, even if you'll find a way to make it work for you in aspects. With that same regard, it's not for everybody to try to fit into everything. Know your lanes and know your role. So if you happen to hear some Indian music or something, and you're trying to be like, put your hands in the sky or something. And
I'd love to hear that. Yeah.
You know what would happen? You would get chased out of that space really fast, pretty much, so. You just got to know your lanes and know your roles. But overall, man, I mean, have fun. If you're an MC, it just fits in. That's all I can say. A real MC, it ain't all about lyrics. It's just knowing what and how to just finesse in.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking out of place here because I'm not an MC.
Surely. Speak to me, Tom.
To me, the job of the MC is to communicate between the DJ and the crowd, so to make everyone feel comfortable.
Yes.
That to me would be the role.
Mike, Masters of Ceremony.
Yeah.
Dynamite MC once gave the perfect analogy to me, which was this: basically the MC is like, so the chef is the DJ is the chef in the kitchen cooking up. The crowd are there sitting. Didn't even have his microphone on or anything. He just walked onto the stage and stood behind Friction, and the whole crowd went up. Like,
he's in my top 5 SP. He's an amazing guy to watch in action, man.
Definitely himself, GQ. I mean, so
GQ,
many
oh
legends.
my
I'm
God.
hoping that Gary's going to come down and do one of these sessions as well. So we are going to, all right, we're getting a thumbs up from our next guest. So we're going to wrap up now with a very special guest. We're going to wrap up now with Chef. So you're going to play one more tune.
Yeah,
Tell us about one more tune. You've got it lined up.
I've got just a Marcus tune because it's Marcus.
Marcus.
So, Out of Touch by Marcus. Slightly. Yeah, there we go.
Go on,
One,
Marcus, rest in peace.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Destination Sardinia. It's the one more thing Sun and Base Social.
Okay. Check. There we go. So, Marcus. Rest in peace, Marcus Intellects. And there's something really, really special about Sun and Bass where people do pay tribute
100%.
to all of the lost. Yes, please take out. So, did you just whip? Hang on a minute. I think I just seen Klute just take out his USB without pressing the eject button.
Is it screw this or
It screws you USB. Doesn't screw up the CDJ, I think. I've never seen such just gung-ho behavior. He really is a punk. Like, well, thank you very much, Klute. Thank you very much, T.R.A.C. Thank you very much, Chris.SU.
Thank you, Klute.
Well, no pressure now. We just got Dom and Roland just standing there, just looking.
He knows. Dom knows.
Now we're here with Chef, and again, like, long time guest and member of the Sun and Bass community.
100%.
Tell us about...
For 2005, and a lot of my friends were first invited over by Aziz, one of the original crew that are putting on the Sun and Bass, and we were just discussing when they were used to party, the venues were actually at the beach bar, so that was the kind of place where you went, and here, so it was this venue, El Faro, and the beach bar were the kind of early venues for a lot of the parties, and because of my daytime job in education, I could never get out because it's always at the start school term.
Yeah.
So I could never do it. So fast forwarding from 2005 onwards, obviously my good friend and my brother Fats would be constantly coming out, and he would work with me. We worked together. He was working as a vocal coach at the school that I was working at. So so he was. I used to work for a program teaching young people. Disaffected young people, and Fats was part of the MC team that used to come on and coach young MCs that were in the grime scene, and some big names that Fats coached in there, and he would come out to here. So I would let him go to Sun and Bass because I was his boss at work. Yeah, outside of the music, I was his boss at work. So I would allow him to go to Sun and Bass every year. And he would say, man, you got to get off, you got to come, Chef, you're going to absolutely love it. It's your place. You would absolutely love it. And I just couldn't do it just because of work commitment. And then one year, it was like, I've got to get out there. And I was working with Bailey. I was producing Bailey's show on Ministry of Sound Radio. And we were doing that. And we put an idea together to Martina and Stefano to come and do a Ministry of Sound takeover.
Right.
Yeah, so that was 2013. So it was, at the time, was
You
Groove.
posted photos of this recently.
Yes,
I
I did that. Yeah. I tried to do, before coming out, was posting all my best memories of the kind of years before, this year. And so it was like Fabio, Groove, Brian G, Bailey, whole takeover up at Ambra Day. And we did that 2 consecutive. So that was my kind of first introduction. Just being the producer, making sure all the live streams are working out, very familiar to what you do now kind of thing. So we did that then, and it became a thing that we did for 2 years. And then after that, obviously my connection with Brian Bell Fortune and the Alls Crews happened, and I got a big up Brian Bell Fortune every time, legend, like
the original documenter, like the man behind
Yeah.
the one book the drum and bass had on it for like well over 20 years.
And a lot of people
absolute legend.
And a lot of people don't realise, Brian's input into the whole of the industry, even going back to Radio 1's One in the Jungle, was Brian being a runner and a producer at BBC at the time, hence getting Jungle into the mainstream. So Brian Bell Fortune is owed a lot of flowers. He's not here this year due to ill health, but next year he's working on the audio book. I know you're aware of the audio books happening, and so
I wasn't aware there was an audio book.
So
I thought it was additional chapters.
So there's an All Crews audio book happening with all the real voices of the people who've spoken on the book previously. So you'll hear the real people speaking the real stuff with additional stuff.
Do you know what? When I was preparing, I did this amazing podcast with Storm, which if you're watching and you want something else to watch after this or listen to after this, it's my most popular podcast by a million miles. Storm is just such a legend, and she talks so candidly. But I found a recording of Brian interviewing. It's on his website.
I know
Brian interviewing Kemi and Storm. And I mean, it's quite it's gripping because you can hear Kemi's voice.
Yes.
And it's just like it's a moment in
It's
history.
a moment in time that was
at one point
captured.
in the phone, like I've got goosebumps again.
You just said the same thing,
goosebumping
man.
up.
Yeah, man, you just said it.
Because you can hear them answering the phone. It's like, I'm just on an interview. Call me back later. And it's so candid, and it's like this moment in time.
It is a moment that was captured.
This is history, isn't it? This is like wow.
So Brian's kind of All Crews thing, Martina and Stefano brought All Crews out, obviously because of the book and the history history of jungle and kind of showing the lineage of where drum and bass has come from and the roots and the real foundation people that were behind it. And, you know, it gave me an opportunity to play my first Sun and Bass on the beach, facing the ocean, and it was a Metalheads night as well, and it just holds so many memories.
All these things are just making it sound even better, like your first one, on the beach, Metalheads.
It was just such an amazing experience. So we had the all crews daytime, and then it went into Goldie and Randall in the nighttime, and watching the moon over the, like, so many magical moments, and all crews, and I can't thank Brian Bell, fortunately enough, for giving me the opportunity to represent all crews pretty much for the existing amount of years afterwards, and playing all of the venues possible and having some standout moments with the crew. And it's not just me, it's the all crews. So I've got to big up Staunch, big up Devious, big up all the guests that passed through. But yeah, you know, this is, you said it, you came here 2018.
Yeah.
And it was a wild year.
Yes.
And a very hectic year. But where we've moved to now, it's just beautiful to see 20 years on where we're at. You know, where we're at. And just listening to some of the conversations you had, these are conversations that I've heard in the past. So, yeah, it was great stuff, man.
Yeah, and great to document. And I mean, we're talking about all crews. One significant crew that was right there, the very part that you were part of, that Randall was part of, was the Underground.
Yeah.
Tell us about that particular crew.
Yeah, so, you know, going back to the original Underground format, you know, you got to look at Big Brother Mikey, The Underground, Cool Hand Flex, you know, Uncle 22, Marley Marl, MC Fats. You know, there were so many other people that were in and around that space. I'm just looking for A-sides. You know, he was a regular up in there. Swanee, LSD, some of the original heads. And this was a record shop in Forest Gate that was very seminal to spreading music from hardcore before it became jungle. So it was the hardcore jungle record shop that you would go to buy your tickets, and you would get your merch from your little bits of horns or flyers.
Whistles or anything like
anything.
that.
But it was a seminal record shop that you just went to, and Randall was playing the tunes, and there would be 20 deep, and it would just be hands up in the air. Who wants this one? There's only like 10 copies, and you had to grab what you had to grab. You know, like I see Luxie nodding over in the background. He knows the drill about the Underground, and you know that place was such a hub for music. So in the back room was a studio which had all the underground labels. You know, Oddball, Undie Underground, and there was about 5 other labels.
And this is where We Are IE came
this
from.
This is where
as well,
IE and Real to Real, that was Big Brother John, and you know, so all of the people involved in that takes you back to Lenny D-Ice and We Are IE, and that's why, you know, Randall was always We Are IE, you know, and that was really important. So yeah, that was the cultural hub in Forest Gate, East London, where all of the superstars were kind of born and grown.
And a whole like load of the infrastructure. So you mentioned like Reel to Reel. So that was like a kind of they would distribute to other
that's right.
to other record shops. So this is like, and this is what I love about DIY culture.
Yeah.
And you know, when you go back to these moments and it's like, geez, that spawned this and this and this and
well,
this.
just
like
to kind of jump in on that, Fats was doing record distribution at that point. So he would distribute the Real to Real records to all the record shops. So that was kind of Fats' early thing, was actually being a record distributor, and any tune that came out, he would take 2 copies for himself. So like, you know, there's a library of unseen records in the family house. So I spoke to his son, I said, get up in the attic, you got a gold mine up there. Wow. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so that, and again, just spawning that, and a Mo's Music Machine. Remember Mo's Music Machine? We used to get our records from there, and that whole kind of East London input, you know what I mean? If you had an E in your postcode, it was very seminal, do you know what I mean? Like, we were all part of this movement. Roller Express, you know, all the venues local.
Also Cool as well. Cool would have played a role, a massive role in that
yeah,
as well.
Cool FM, obviously, Cool and Flex was one of the main representatives part of the Underground on, you know, Cool FM in the early days. And, you know, as we all are fans of them, we became part of that community. And as I said, they were my heroes that became my friends. And, you know, last year I was fortunate enough to play the tribute night for Fats, and, you know, it meant a lot. And this year we're going to be honouring Rand again on Monday night. You know, it's going to be an awesome lineup, man.
Yeah. Let's just take a moment to reflect on Randall. Like, I'm really glad because last time I seen him, I interviewed him in Bristol, him and Di, in front of a big audience, really similar to this in the cause. And I actually got to say to Randall, like, I'm so glad I can say I'm glad you're here because of his previous health situations. And we had a hug. And it was a really, and I now cherish that on a whole other level because I got to say how much he meant to me. Like we've done interviews, we've had some messy times together. I spent a lot of time with him.
Yeah.
Like only a fraction compared to a lot of his friends like yourself. But I did know him as a person, and to be able to do that, quite often you regret not saying that enough to somebody. So I'm really glad that I was able to say, I'm still glad you're here. But then it made it even more poignant when the news came through. This is hard for me. It must be even harder for you because he was a brother to you. This is the biggest hole in the scene ever, I think, really.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some huge losses, going back from chemistry, which was, I think, the first major loss we had, right, Lux? That was the kind of in our scene for us. Yeah, definitely. And, that was a big hole, especially,
so young, so soon, so unexpected.
And then so many people like Stevie and, the people that we were all around, I could sit here and do the roll call of so many people, legends that we lost. But as you said, there was something about what Randall did for the whole community, the whole of drum and bass. He taught us how to play the tunes properly, number one, right?
Yeah.
So,
perfect.
That's the rules. He was the teacher, right? He was the teacher. He showed us how to make these tunes work in such a magical way that created the third lane everyone talks about. So the third lane is you got two tunes that are doing two things, but now that mystical energy mix that made it a third lane that was like, how the hell are we over here when you're only mixing two tunes? And that whole journey of learning how to play music in a very different style from the hardcore chop, 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 cut, in, out, this was the roll in the connect. And, the sighting of how many producers he put on the map. How many record labels actually had to feed Randall to get their recognition. And shout out Moving Shadows Psy, who was having a conversation about, some of the seminal tracks on Moving Shadow that Randall broke. Metalheads broke, Reinforced broke. Like, I can remember Goldie, with dub plates getting cut and coming to Hippodrome, to Orange, and hearing Terminator for the very first time.
Yeah.
And
Zinc calls that a JFK moment. Everybody knows where they were when they first heard Terminator.
Yeah.
Like you remember,
it's either Blue Note, if you heard it in Blue Note, or I got to hear it at Hippodrome at that time.
I think Randall told me in an interview that he was rung up by Goldie at 5 a.m, demanding that he came to the studio, and he was like, "Fuck
to
off,
listen to it."
Yeah, and he did, and he went down Goldie wouldn't take no for an answer. And this is in an interview that Randall told me because I was reading through all the interviews that we did, but like those moments, these like critical kind of pivotal moments, really. There, he was part of them all, and his attitude as well. Like it was.
It was the entourage. There was, there's many DJs that roll with an entourage, like, the Intermassive with Groove, I think was the kind of first entourage we ever saw hold up the dance. And then there was the Randall entourage, which meant that followed him. If he was doing 2 gigs in a night, they would, like me, I would go from Hippodrome to Astoria or Astoria to the next spot. Like whatever it was, like you would just follow the sound to the next thing because you knew you were getting a next round. You were getting a next killer session. Who won't play the same dubs he just played in that club. It'll be another rotation. So, people like Marley Marl, very pivotal, around Randall and stuff like that in the early days, and being at the record shop. And, there's so many of us that owe so much to Randall for either showing us the way, bringing us in, putting us on. One memory I've got to share with you with Rand is he gave us a call one day and he was like, "Yo, I've got this gig in Cambridge. T.C. Islam's just called me. We just grab some records and we're gonna go."
T.C. Islam's just called me. Brilliant.
Yeah. And again, obviously, if you don't know, T.C. Islam, African Bombata's son, like legendary Planet Rock, and so just to even know that, right, he's called us up. So we ended up going to Cambridge, going to Junction, getting taken up into the forests up in Cambridge, and I said to Rand, "This is pitch black up here, mate. There's nothing happening. There's nothing
going on." Do you know what?
on.
I've spoken to the promoter of that rave.
Do you know about that, right? So
man,
there was a guy called Johnny Cash, he was one of the MCs that got us involved. He was part of the Cambridge Early Collective Warning
Trauma
guys.
DBC.
Yes, Trauma, yes,
big up Trauma.
Yes, big up Trauma, man. So we ended up going to these woods, and I can't hear no music. All there is just woods, And I looked at Rand and I said, "This is a setup. Because we had vinyl and dub plates, yeah, and I said, this is a setup. We're getting jacked.
Yeah.
They're taking us into the woods to get jacked. I said, couldn't hear no sound, no nothing. So walking through the woods, like little flashlight, and just like that UFO scene, like little lights flickering through the trees, and then you start to hear the dull. Next thing, you big open area with a campfire, TC Islam on the mic, Randall on, me on, Bud on. Like, again, a moment that, you know, after his passing, someone said, we still talk about the legendary day you lot just turned up in the middle of the woods with TC Islam to play a set. So I'll always remember those very fun, special moments, man. But yeah, Monday night's going to be a very, very special night because that whole lineup, everyone's got a very personal connection.
It's just that
Die, DLR, Break, and who else is it? I'm on there, G's on there, Moose, Cleveland, and Benny.
Yeah.
And Benny, you know, Benny got put on the map with some around his set.
Another one of the like kind of newer generation, like, you know, Randall's consistency there, and he didn't stop at his own kind of generation or anything. He was always
looking at the next kid who was going to do something, do damage, and, you know, showed people like, you need to check this kid. You know, Shims was obviously the first in line, you know, and that relationship with Shimon and Randall as well, you know, super tight, you know, part of that early Ram kind of adventures and stuff. So, yeah, there's a lot, as I said, we all owe a lot to Randall. We all of us, every single DJ, every single MC, we all understand. And, you know, when you listen to a Randall set, you didn't really need an MC, but you only needed one MC. And that's my other brother. So, like, when you only have the two you need, it's an easy one.
And there's such a connection. Like, I've got so many favourite mixes saved where you can hear Gary laughing at how much Rand is just buzzing him up and gassing him up. And he's telling him to stop it. Like, you know, again, goosebumps.
It's the like telepathy that them two had, where there'd be a cheeky look. And if you knew them, you would know what was about to go. Round would give him a little look to kind of say, get ready, kind of thing. And then the little wink or the little shift of the head and the little drop in, and you knew he was about to damage you with something. Yeah. He was about to damage you. So, you know.
I mean, that's like we've talked about the third lane there, but then with Gary on board, that's like an extra fourth lane opening.
The fourth dimension just got
fourth
opened.
Dimension.
Fourth dimension. So, yeah, very, very special moments, and so sad that, you know, we've lost one of the generals, you know, the kings of the game. Do you know what I mean? And as you said, I don't think the new generation have ever witnessed that in there. You know, obviously we lost Skibbs, you know, we lost Con, and I think our scene have lost so many in such a short time. R.I.P. Daz, R.I.P. Special A. You know, there's so many R.I.Ps. R.I.P. Tactic, who just passed away, and a lot of people don't realise who DJ Tactic is. Made a seminal jungle tune. You know, are you ready for some jungle in the field? Blood clot jungle techno. You know,
wow, one of the seminal blueprints.
One of the seminal blueprints. And unfortunately, he passed away and never got his flowers. He passed away like 2 weeks ago and never got his flowers. So we need to give everyone their flowers while they're still here, while they're still present, and show some love to everyone, because tomorrow's not promised, Dave.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's something really important to acknowledge about that first generation. We are losing a lot of the first generation. We spoke about this privately last night, of like who the next generation, the pioneers. Let's say I'm going to use Andy C as an example, because he came through with Randall, like, you know, kind of a few years
He got schooled.
later,
I'm going to say it straight. Randy got schooled by Randall. Like, there would be no Andy C.
And he would be the first to say
there would be no Andy C, and he would definitely be the first man to say that. There would be no Andy C without Randall. Straight up.
And whereas people of Andy's kind of school years did get their flowers and did kind of get the rewards that people of that level should get, the people before didn't get that because it was so new, so experimental, and so boundary breaking.
I agree.
They, you know, like a lot of the real early forerunners don't get those flowers in that type of way. And I think it's really special. There's something really unique about Sun and Bass as we wrap up, where they do. There is homage.
There's homage. I mean,
acknowledgement is made. Isn't
you know, it's you know, you think about kind of how do we continue honouring the legends, you know, and as a DJ, all I can do is play all of their music in a kind of tribute mix, you know, whether it's going from Marcus to Spirit to, you know, a Conrad to Fats to as many as I can squeeze in on a tribute mix. I'll try and do that. Even I ended up with a Yush tribute the other night playing, you know, again, another legend gone, you know. So, like, I tried to include all of the fallen soldiers in a mini tribute mix at any opportunity, and where else but Sun and Bass to do something special like that, right?
But you know what? I'm going to wrap up now. We're going to play one tune to sign out. And
Lovely.
there can only be one tune. And I'm going to carry on talking while I try and bring it up. And hopefully I can find it.
But you're here every day,
really,
right?
really
Are you here
quickly.
every day doing this?
I'm here every single day
You
doing
can catch
this.
him here every day between 1 and 3.
Yep.
See, I'm doing his plugging for him while he's doing the work on the other bit.
Oh,
But
man,
yeah,
I like-
one more thing, man. I'm proud to say, mate, good to see what you've been doing and how you've taken ownership and definitely.
Oh, go on,
see,
go on.
yeah, man.
Wow.
One more thing, you've been doing your thing, bro. And as I said, no, Dave. No, Dave's come a
No,
long
Dave.
way. No, Dave's come a long way. So yeah, big up, man.
Amazing. And now I still can't find the tune because you've taken me by surprise. And I wasn't expecting that. Where is it?
Come on,
Like, I should have had-
what are you giving him for the
I
last
want
tune?
sound control. I've got
Ah,
sound
there you
control,
go.
and because I've had it in a mix, and I've done a mix recently, and I thought, right, I'll know where it is.
So
Here we
for a lot of
go.
people who
So-
don't know about Sound Control, a tune that Andy and Randall wrote with, you know, who I call one of the masters of that. So if you think about the early Ram production, there's a person who doesn't get spoken about enough, and I need to give that man his flowers, and that's Ant Miles.
yeah.
You know, Ant Miles is the early guy who was the man in the studio that Andy sat with and got schooled by. So Sound Control, 100%, Ant Miles, Shims, Randall, Andy, the whole crew.
Yeah, it wraps up so much. So this, we're going to wrap up with this. Thank you so much, Chef.
Dave.
It's been amazing.
Big up.
Thank you to everybody who's
Big
come
up,
down.
guys.
There's quite an audience down here, so that's amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who's watched as well. We will be back 1 o'clock European time, 12 o'clock UK time on all of the channels. This is Sound Control.